everyone, so it's really early in the morning. I got my coffee with me, but I'm so excited today because we're going to be meeting with the costume designer and wardrobe stylist for the HBO series Girls. So we're just going to be going shopping with her and figuring out how she puts together all the outfits for the characters. So let's go. So we're here at Amarcord Vintage and I'm here with Jenn Rogien. She is the costume designer of the HBO series Girls. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
So my question is, when you are trying to pull pieces for the show, do you have to go through the script beforehand?
Absolutely. We start with the script. When we do our first fittings of the season, we do what we call a closet fitting. And that's where we go out and look for racks full of looks that we can use throughout the season, whether or not we know what the scripts will be. And then as soon as we get that script, then we start working towards that specific story. And we always have a closet for each girl on our truck or in our shop that we can pull from. So for that big closet fitting, we come to Amarcord, we shop all over the city, just accumulating looks and pieces and accessories and jewelry. And then from there on out, yes, we absolutely start with the story, we start with the script, and we work to that specific moment.
There's the actors and then there's the characters, and like each of them has their own personality. So how do you make sure to kind of not be so influenced by like the actors as people?
I only want the actors to wear something that they feel comfortable and in character wearing, because at the end of the day, they're the one who will be performing in it. I never want to put them in something that's going to distract from their ability to perform in the scene. At the same time, we try to keep it the character's style, the character's look, and stay true to that, because the girls in their lives are very different from the girls that they play on TV, and I think it's helpful to have that separation.
Since we're here, would you mind taking us through the process of how you pick out the clothes and the outfits and all of that?
I'd love to.
Thanks.
I'm going right for the suede. It's texture. Texture's great for character. It's great for TV. It makes it interesting to look at. This color is actually amazing. It's a version of red that we would use on TV, because red has a lot of information. It's got a lot of power, and so we're very strategic. I'm very strategic about where I use red. So I'm very careful about red, and we're also careful about patterns. There's some technical elements, including strobe factor, that I don't want anything strobing near my actors' faces, and so we're very careful about picking things that don't have any busyness around the face. And here at a store like Amarcord, which has such special pieces, I actually go through every single piece on the rack. So, I take it out, I look at it, see if it could work for character. I've gotten to the point where I know the girls well enough that I can sort of look at it and then move on if it's not the right thing for any of the girls. Every now and then I'll come across a piece that's just fantastic. Not for the show, not for anything in the world, but it's an amazing piece. And I just sort of take a mental note, because you never know when you're going to need something like that.
Right.
You never know when you're going to get a script that calls for a plaid poncho. It could happen. When that comes along, I want to be prepared with a resource in the back of my mind where I know, oh, Amarcord has great vintage pieces. They've got some really special patterns. They've got some special accessories. If I need to get something in a pinch when the script comes out, I can go right out and get it.
Does it just happen kind of organically? Like, do you see, like, sometimes you've got the outfit and then you look at the accessories, or do you sometimes see an accessory that's just amazing and you're like, well, now we have to, this is the center of, like, focus?
It's a little bit of both. I tend to pull the clothing first, because for me, that's where the character starts developing. Once we start accumulating things that sort of start looking the same, where, here it should look all different because it's a store, and once we start pulling everything back to the shop and start looking at clothes on a rack, then we kind of know where we're going, we know what we're looking for. But we pull accessories at the same time. We pull character handbags, we pull character jewelry, and jewelry is one of the most important accessories for me, because it helps the actors get into the character and sort of, yes, we've got the clothes, but now we've got the jewelry, we've got the handbag, we've got the shoes. And shoes, for me, are a really big part of character as well, because they affect how the actors stand and how they walk. So even if we never see the shoe on camera, we still fit the shoe, we still get the right shoe for the character, because it's fundamental. It's part of how they move physically.
Can we please talk about the jewelry?
Absolutely. We should take a look at this piece. There are some things that just jump out right away. It's technically a belt. We would use it as a necklace. or a bracelet or you know, anything like that. So that's a great piece. This is incredible. Oh my gosh, that is just incredible.
That's
and
wonderful.
Again, it's a reason to shop vintage because that's such a unique piece. You would never find that at retail.
No.
And it's a one of a kind. So you're wearing something that's a one of a kind, whether it's on TV or whether it's in your life. That's a really great reason to come visit Amarcord.
Would you ever go shopping and then you kind of see something that you like for yourself and you're just like, wow.
Guilty, yes.
All of a sudden.
Yes, the occupational hazard is that my wardrobe is expanding as well as the character's wardrobes, and so I try to be careful about not breaking my own budget while also not breaking the show budget.
Do you repeat things just to kind of keep it realistic?
Yes, it's very important to me that we repeat pieces that aren't super featured or that aren't very identifiable because that's real. That's part of what real women do in their lives. That's
I love
what I
when
do in
shows
my
do
life.
that.
I'm sure that's what we all do. And there are things that are sort of basics, jeans and skirts and pieces that are very important and identifiable as a repeat. And so yeah, we do that.
I could honestly spend hours in here because it's just so awesome. But I know that we have to go to one more place, New York Elegant Fabric, and I can't wait to see what we're going to be doing there. So before we go, just one more thing, because I saw these sunglasses and I can't leave the store without them. So I'm going to go buy these. I'm going to go pay for these now. So
Shopping like I do. One for
Yeah.
the show, one for me.
So we're here at New York Elegant Fabrics. Now, when I walked in, I mean, this is like sensory overload. How do you process this?
We are very lucky that we come here when we know that we're going to build something. We know what it's going to be, we know what it should look like, we know the silhouette, and now we're at the point of looking for fabrics. And sometimes that process isn't quite as firm as what that sounds like. It's a little more organic. I've definitely been here for projects where you come in and you see a piece of fabric and you just know that that's what it should be. And the fabric inspires the silhouette of the dress, it inspires the shape, the color, it inspires a lot. Let me show you around. We've got some great stuff back here.
Okay, great.
That we used on girls. Everything's identified by the category, raw silk to embroidery. And one of the things I love about Elegant specifically is that they have swatches on every roll of fabric. So you can come through, you can take several swatches, you can take them back to your shop, you can see what the color range is, what the color palette ended up being as you were pulling, and you can then also test things. You can buy a quarter yard, a half yard as a swatch, you can run it through the laundry, see what it's gonna do. And then you'll see things where it says, you know, no swatching. That's because the repeat or the pattern of the fabric is so specific that pulling a tiny little square isn't going to get you a very good representation of what the fabric actually is. This one's a particularly beautiful panel, but you wouldn't want to cut into that unless you knew that you actually wanted to buy that for something you were making. I actually get the question a lot, do you make everything for the girls? We don't. The TV production time frame is so short that we don't have time to make everything. So it's a combination of thrift shopping and vintage shopping and going to Bloomingdale's and then making the few special pieces where it's something that doesn't exist in the world or there's specific requirements because of the script or the story or the production.
Do you have like a whole team? Like it can't be just
I
you,
do.
right?
That's actually a really good question. I have an amazing team that backs me up. I have two on the current show that I'm working on, a fabulous first assistant and a second assistant who does a lot of the shopping. I have a wardrobe supervisor who once we get the designs set, we get the clothes pulled, we get them fit, I hand them off to her. She makes sure that they get laundered, they get pressed, they get taken care of, and then they actually get to the actors' dressing rooms so that when the actors go to get dressed, that wardrobe is there. And then she is a team working with her to make sure that once the outfit is established, the very first time it goes to camera, I step in with the actor, we pick the rings, the earrings, the necklace, how many buttons the shirt is buttoned up for, and if the sleeve is rolled, if it's not rolled, what shoe it's going to be. All of those little decisions add up to the look of the character. Once we make all of that happen, it goes to camera for the first time, we consider it established, and her team takes it from there.
What goes through your mind when you're watching the show yourself?
Well, I have to be honest in that I do look for the mistakes. I'm my harshest critic, and so I'm always looking for something I could have done better. Should I pick a different fabric? You know, should I pick a different outfit? Does that work for this emotion? Is it really helping to tell the story? So there is that in the back of my head. And then there's also the, wow, this is amazing.
Right.
I get to make TV that people see all over the States. That's pretty great.
That is. But I think, you know, I think these are things that you'll notice more.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't think
I hope so.
I don't think the audience is thinking of it the same way. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I've done my job well.
Well, thank you so much, Jen, for taking us through your world and giving us a really eye-opening experience of what it's like to be a costume designer.
Thanks for coming along.
Well, thank you so much. Well, Girls will be back on HBO January 2013, but you can catch up on the first season on HBO On Demand.